Hi, my name is Ishmael. I'm the owner of Full Circle Drums here in Santa Barbara, California. And this is an instructional DVD on how to put a new skin on your Doombeck drum. The first thing I'd like to show you is the tools that you're going to need to do this job. Basically, everything you need you probably already have in your household, but here's the different things that you're going to need right here. A screwdriver, a pair of scissors, a lighter, sandpaper, some wood glue. I use just a straight Elmer's wood glue. If you can find a bottle of wood glue that has a long tip like this, that's better, but any bottle of wood glue will do. You're going to need a hole punch. If you don't have a hole punch, you don't have access to a hole punch, you can get Full Circle drums to punch the hole in your skin. You're going to need some nylon string. This is 3mm black nylon string. Works great. You can get that from Full Circle drums as well. You need a goat-skinned round, which looks like this right here. We'll talk more about this in a minute. You need a rag to wipe up any mess that you make with the glue. And you need some sort of a container that you can put the goat skin in to soak in water. You can use a 5-gallon bucket. I'm using this ceramic bowl. Anything that'll hold, that's large enough to soak the skin in will do. I want to talk about removing an old goat skin or a torn goat skin from a drum. This is a drum that I've been soaking in hot water for the last hour. It had a torn skin on it like this. All of these drums are glued with a water-soluble wood glue, at least the ones from Full Circle drums are. So if you just soak it for a solid hour, it'll break the bond of the glue, and then you can remove it. So I just come around and I untie this knot right here. I'm going to do that now. First I'm going to dry the drum off a little bit. Make sure that no water's in it. Okay. And I'm just going to go to this knot right here and try to undo this knot. If you can't get the knot undone, sometimes they're tied too tight. If you can't get it undone, then you can cut it. But I try to get it undone so that I can save the string. This long up and down string right here can be used for the head of your drum, for making this lace on the head. So I try to save it if I can. And it's not too hard to get it off. Here we go. So you're just going to unlace it. If the skin doesn't come off the drum, put it back in the water for a while. It just hasn't been soaked long enough. If it's a real thick skin, sometimes it takes a little longer, but an hour seems to be long enough to get the skin to remove from the drum. Here we go. All right. There we are. So let's see how that does. Yeah, it's starting to come off there. Good. So you can see that the skin comes off easy enough. Some of what you have to work with is just getting this extra glue that's been stuck to the drum to come off the drum. And if it's soaked long enough, it should come right off as well. You can also use the sandpaper like this and just sort of work it. You want to kind of get all the edges. You can also use the rag. You just want to wipe all the glue off. Take your time and get it off. Make sure to get all the different chunks off. It's important because they'll make the surface of the drum uneven if you don't remove them all. So if you need to, if you're having a really hard time getting the glue off, just put it back into the water again for a while. Let it soak and then remove it a little bit more and then sand it a little bit more. Work on this just a little bit more here. There it comes. All right, starting to look better. So I'm just going around the entire surface, making sure there's no little chunkies on there. And one more wiping. At the inside. Okay, now we're pretty much there. That looks about right. So when you get the drum to this point and it's all cleaned up and smooth, one thing you have to know is that the drum, since it's been soaking in water for the last hour, it's saturated. A lot of the clay inside here has saturated a lot of moisture. And if you put a goat skin on top of this, you sort of trap that moisture in there. So what I like to do is I like to take the drum and set it out in the sun for at least an hour before I put a skin on it. That just allows the drum to air out and for the moisture to evaporate. If it's a cloudy day or if it's the evening when you pull the skin off, let it sit overnight before you try to put the new skin on. Okay, so now we're ready to put the new skin onto our Doombeck drum. Here we go. Okay. At Full Circle drums, we use a goat skin that is about 3 inches larger than the head diameter of the drum. So here's an example of that down here. This is a 10-inch diameter. The head of the drum is 10 inches in diameter, and the goat skin is 13 inches in diameter. That gives us about 1.5 inches extra goat skin sticking out from the head of the drum. So then when we punch the hole in the skin, we put it right in between the head of the drum and the edge of the outside skin, right there. So now I'm going to show you how to punch the holes in the skin. The most important thing to know about punching the holes in the skin is that you need an even number of holes around the diameter of the skin. Like I said a moment ago, you want the holes to be about 1 inch away from the outside diameter of the skin. That looks like that right there. And I'm going to try to put 14 holes in this skin. So this is what it looks like. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and one more is 14 right there. Okay, so that's 14 holes in the skin. Now once you get the holes in the skin, you're just going to put it in a container like this right here of warm water. And I've been soaking a skin in water. I've got it right here. But I'll put this one in too and let it soak so we can do another drum later. So you need to soak the skin in warm water, not hot water, but warm water for about 15 minutes. What you want is the skin to be flexible like this right here. You know, it's almost like a spaghetti flexibility, something like that. So there should be no like hard edges. It should all be soft and flexible. On the skins, there's 2 sides of the skin, obviously. One side was attached to the animal. That would be this side. It's difficult to see, but and it really doesn't matter. If you put either side up, it's fine. But visually, it's nice to put the side down that was attached to the animal because it has kind of the fleshy part showing just a little bit of where it was attached to the animal, right there. So that's what that looks like. On this side, it's a little shinier. And it doesn't have that. Often you'll see a little bit of the hair still sticking off the skin. That's another indication that that's the fur part of the animal. That's the part that's going to go on the drum like this. Okay. Okay, now you're ready to cut the strings for your drum. First string that you want to cut is a string that's going to go around the base of the drum like this. And you want that string to go around 3 times. Once, twice, and 3 times like that. And then you want to give yourself a lot of extra room, like 6 or 8 inches on each end of the string like that, so that you have room to slip your fingers underneath that skin because you're going to be weaving string through there. So I'm just going to tie that off in a really simple knot like that. This knot's going to be untied, so it doesn't really matter what kind of knot it is. And that's what it should look like. It should have about that much space underneath so you can get your fingers under it. Everything's going to be tied loosely right now. Okay, then the second piece of string you need to tie is for the head of the drum. It's going to look like this. If you need string, just let us know at Full Circle Drums and we'll send you the string and I can help you out with the lengths as well. But so you're going to measure it so it goes around the diameter of the head of the drum like that. And it touches on the other side. Then add about 6 to 10 inches beyond that just to be safe. And then cut it. And then you need to melt one side of the string. Be careful not to burn yourself. Then you're going to start by going starting underneath of the skin. Any hole's fine. Start weaving the string through, pull it through all the way to the end and leave about 5 or 6 inches left over underneath. And then you're just going to weave it through. It's really simple. Through the top like this. Just go around the head of your drum, over like that, and then under like this. Just keep going through. It's really simple. This is easy. Make sure you got the end of the string melted well. If it is just not melted well enough, it frays and it makes it difficult to do this. There we go. Okay, we're getting to the end, and now we're going to get to Not anything that's really difficult, but something that you have to pay attention to. We have to tie this string off to the other string right here, and we have to tie it in a knot called a square knot. It has to be a square knot. It can't be anything else or it'll slip out later. You don't need to make it super tight when you tie the square knot, but you don't want it to be really loose, just about like this. So there's a little bit of flex in it, but not too much, just like that. So it'll stay on the drum, but there'll be an ability for you to feed the string underneath these loops right here. Okay, so here's how you do the square knot, just like this. Hold a piece of string in each hand like this. Take this string that's in your right hand and cross it over the top of the one that's in your left hand like that, and switch hands. Now you've got a cross like that. Now take the one that's in your right hand, put it over the one that's in your left hand like this, and feed it through like a shoelace knot. And then pull it down so that it's touching the edge of the drum like that. Okay, then take the one that's in your left hand, this one, and point it towards the one that's in your right hand like that. And take the one in your right hand and put it over the top of the one that's in your left hand like this. Put it through and pull it like that. See, it's almost a figure 8 like that. That's a square knot. And as you pull it tight, that's what it looks like. Get a really good look at that. That's a square knot. It's got to look like that or you got to redo it. Okay, here it is one more time. You're going to take the two strings in your hands like this. Take the one in your right hand, cross it over the one that's in your left hand. Take the one now and then switch hands. Take the one that's in your right hand, go over the one that's in your left hand like that, like the beginning of a shoelace knot. Take the one that's in your left hand right here, bend it towards the one in your right hand, and I kind of switch around and put this finger on top of the cross just so it stays. Then take the one that's in my right hand and go over the top of the one in my left hand like this, and through, and then pull them. And there's your square knot like that. Once you get the square knot like that, pull it really tight on this one, just like that. And then once you've got a square knot, you know it, and it's real tight, then you can cut it. And you're going to cut it about an inch away from the square knot like this. So things you're looking for here at this point, you're looking to make sure it's a square knot. That's the most important. Make sure that the skin is even all the way around the head of the drum. You can adjust it at this point, just like that. Make sure that it's not too tight and not too loose. Just like that is right. So I can get my fingers under it, but it's still sitting on the top of the drum. So now you have two strings. You have this bottom string tied 3 times and tied in a square knot, but loosely, and you have the head of the drum. So then the third string that you're going to need is a string that goes from here through here, this zigzaggy string. That string for this medium drum, you need 1 full arm length and 2 full arm lengths. Basically what you're going to need is the distance here, up and down, times 14, since you have 14 holes. For this, it's 2 full arm lengths. But you can kind of calculate that out by looking at the head size of your drum and measure. Just measure this distance from here to here and count 1, 2, 3, 4, and go all the way around the drum. If you need help with that, you can call us here at Full Circle Drums. So if you don't know, get extra string, because you can always cut the string. But if you don't have enough string, it's a hard thing to deal with. So you're going to take the string, you're going to put it through the top of the bottom loop here, and you're going to tie it off give it about 8 inches extra string. I call this a little tail, and tie it in just a very simple, almost like the beginning of a shoelace knot, just like that. That's all you need. Okay, then you're going to take the string. You don't have to grab the end. You're just going to take the string, feed this string like this through the first loop. It doesn't matter where on the drum you start. Just go through the loop. Just pull it out, and then feed it underneath this string like this. And through, like that. And underneath this one. That's the reason we kept everything so loose, so that it's really easy to string it up. You don't want to put a lot of tension. You want everything to be just totally flexible and loose at this point in the process. So I'm going under right here, and then I'm going under right here. I'm not going around and under. I'm going under from the inside like that. And then I'm going this way right here. And then the inside under like that. If the skin starts to fall off, just put it back on. This is all just the loose tying right now. There's a lot of time to get everything straight. Under, and under, under, and now we're back to where we started. So now I'm going to untie this little string, this little knot that I put in, and that's why I didn't make it a really tight knot like that. Now I'm going to tie these two together. Now this is another knot that is really good to get if you can. It's a little more difficult, but I'm going to show it to you a couple times, see if you can get it. Take this string with the long tail that is left over, put it over this string, and reach around just like the beginning of a shoelace knot like that. Then I grab the string like this in my hand, and I reach my finger over like that, and I put my thumb on that cross right there, and that makes this little string sticking up right here. Then I take this string, the longer string, and I wrap it around that and through, so it makes like a slip knot, just like that. Did you see that? Let me show you one more time. So I take the shorter string, the one I just untied from here, I put it over the top of this one, pull it through like the beginning of a shoelace knot. I don't put a lot of tension on it yet, but I put my thumb, I hold the string like this in my hand, looking at my hand. Then I put my thumb over like this and put it on top of that cross. Then I take this string and I wrap it around this string that's sticking up here, around and through like this, and pull it down. And that gives me a slip knot that's really easy to get undone. That way, as I'm going around, I can just pull this knot and it comes undone, and I'm ready to do the next one. I'm going to do it one more time. Here it goes, one last time. The one that was tied around this base string, I go over the top of this one and do a basic shoelace knot. Grab the string in my hand like this, bring my thumb over, and kind of turn my wrist so this sticks up straight in the air. You know, it can be down this way and it's difficult. I pull it up so that string's sticking up in the air, and I wrap this string around it and through like that. There it is. And then I pull it down. Now that's a good slip knot. Okay, now if you look at the drum, you notice that it's all loose. There's no string that's like too tight. The drum, I'm making sure again that the skin is even along the head and that everything is still loose. There's nothing, no real tension in the drum right now. If you feel the edges of your drum right here and it's dry, it's getting dry, then you need to soak your skin in water. At this point, it's no problem to do that. Once you glue it, you can't soak it. So this is the point. If it's taking you a long time, which it probably has, to get to this point, and it's starting to dry out. This one's real flexible. See how it turns? But if it were drying out and getting crispy and I couldn't flex it, then you want to soak it in water for 5 minutes. That'll do it. Just give it a 5-minute soak, pull it out, and you're ready to go on with the process. Okay, so this one isn't dried, so I can start the gluing process now. Now this is how you do the gluing, and this is another important part of the process. So the first thing I do is I put the drum upside down in my lap like this. And notice my body position. I can look over the drum. I'm looking over at this side, and I'm going to take the skin, I'm going to pull it away from the clay surface right here, so there's a gap in there. Then I'm going to take my glue, and I'm going to run a bead of glue inside here. As far in, I want to make it go so that it gets to the far edge of the drum, way over here, as I can. So here I go. I put it in, I look over the drum, and I pull away. See, that's why I want everything to be loose right here, so there's lots of room to do this gluing. Gives me space underneath there. I put the glue in, and I run a bead of glue, and I'm looking at the bead so I know, so I don't get too much or too little. It's just a bead. If you can get in, and that's how much I'm looking at right there. Then I turn it, I turn the drum, and I pull it away, and I run a bead of glue in there. Just starting right where I stopped in the last one, then I turn the drum. If you get too much glue in there, it doesn't hurt anything, it just makes a little bit of a mess, so you can wipe it up later. But if too much is better than too little, but just that right amount. It's just one, like the amount that comes out of a glue bottle normally. Here it is again. Okay, here it is right here. And just keep rotating it around. Like that. Once I get a bead of glue all the way around the edge of the drum, I put the glue down and I look I flip the drum over and I look, you can see, if you're looking close, you can see the glue all the way around the diameter. It's kind of a translucent skin, so you can see through it. Then I put it in my lap and I just rub the skin like this to make sure that the glue is spread out evenly, that there's no spots that don't have glue underneath the skin where the clay and the skin touch. Rubbing that around, getting it all spread out. Okay, that's looking good to me. Now the glue acts as a couple things. It's the thing that's going to hold the skin down. It's actually also a lubricant that allows the skin to slip over the edge. So, you could even cut these strings off when the glue's dried and it's done. I don't, because sometimes I like to retune the drum, but it's possible. The glue is really the thing that in the end is going to be holding the skin down on the drum. Okay, so now once you've got the glue on, you kind of have to work fast at this point. If you go too slow, the glue can dry and it makes it difficult to get the skin down. But you don't have to rush. Now it's not a time to go answer the phone or to leave the drum. Now's the time to finish it. So now I untied the bottom knot right here. That's the next thing I'm going to do. I'm going to take all the slack out of this bottom string that's 3. I rub it, pull it really tight until I get all the tension out of it. Then I'm going to do that square knot, which I'll show you one more time. Here it is. Right hand, left hand. The right goes over the left. Switch them around so it looks like this. The one that's in my right hand now goes over again like this. Pull it tight. Put my thumb or finger here, turn the one on my left hand this way. Put the one on my right hand over the top like this and through, and I pull it tight like that. And then I really tighten down that knot really tight, and that's the square knot like that. Okay, so now this is tight. That's going to give us tension, something to pull on when we're pulling this up and down string. I like to sometimes check my square knot before I go on. The square knot looks tight here as well. You don't have to melt these strings. They're fine like they are. Then I come back to where I did the slip knot right here. You don't have to undo it yet, but you're going to go to the right of the slip knot over here. You're going to start slowly pulling out the tension in the skin like this. I'm watching these holes right here. Really important, so I'm not tearing on these holes. This is the most fragile time for the skin. So you can see there's still flexibility, but there's some pressure going on to this. And I'm just going to pull all the tension out, making sure that the skin is even on the head. This is the time to do it. If you don't get it now, you won't be able to keep it even. So don't pull it so hard that you're pulling the skin over to one side. Just take your time. Okay, so you can see I'm putting tension, but I'm not ripping these holes at all. Just taking the tension out. Okay. Keep turning it like that. Good. Okay, then now I can pull this string and it unties, that slip knot unties. Now I'm ready to retie the slip knot. Here that technique is again. The one on the right hand goes over the top of this one and under like a shoelace knot. Grab it like this, flip it over like that, wrap this thing around like this, and pull it through. And now it's a slip knot. If I pull down on this string, I can slip it down so it takes the slack out of the line. So when I get it to this point right here, there's a little flexibility in these, but it's pretty snug. Now I'm ready to do the next stage, which is to tuck the skin under. So this is where you need your screwdriver. Here's my screwdriver. And anywhere on this skin you can start. I'll start right here where the knot is. And I'm just going to take the skin and tuck it underneath that string and push it through like that. Being careful not to poke too hard so I rip the skin. It's real easy. Just tuck it under like that. And just go around and tuck your skin in. This gives the skin a lot more strength. When you get it tucked under, you can pull a lot harder on it. You don't have these sharp edges that can just tear through the skin. It kind of like doubles up the skin for you. So this is a real simple technique to get your skin on your drum really tight. Okay, continue tucking. Like that. Okay. Once you get this done, then you're ready to start tightening again. There it is. So I'm looking at the head of the drum. It's all pretty even around here. I look to see if there's any side. This is a little bit higher on this side. It might be a good spot to start. That all looks really good. Okay, now I'm going to start where the slip knot is, and just to the right of the slip knot, I'm going to take that string again, and I'm going to start to pull on it. A little more pressure this time, and I'm just going to go around and take out any more slack, watching that I'm not ripping these holes. There we go. Usually I have to go around 3 times to get the drum tight. This would be considered the first time, really. Go swung around. Like that. Now I get back. I got it back. I've taken out the tension. I haven't pulled too hard. And I'm going to untie this slip knot again. Take out the slack, and I'm going to tie it again. Here it is, like this. Like that. Put my finger on it. Around. Tighten it, and that's the slip knot. If you can't get that slip knot, just any knot you can do will work. This is just the best way to do it. Now for this one, now that I've got some tension in the strings, I use my screwdriver again for the next time around. I put it under and I start pulling. Now I'm watching these holes because at this point you can rip these holes out. So I pull with the screwdriver and I take this finger and I wrap it around the string like that and I start pulling down. I also use this hand on top of it and I kind of drag it over the drum while I'm pulling to get as much tension as I can out. This is not the final tightening, but this is one where you have to start watching these holes because they can rip out. So I'm pulling and pulling down. At this point right here, I want to put my finger right there so that it can't slip back on this side. Then grab it down here and pull down and lift up and then put my finger right there to hold it. Now that can't slip anymore. I'm holding the pressure so it can't come back. Then pull here. Okay, at this point I can let go of my screwdriver. I'm just pulling with my hand. See how I grab it like that and then I wrap my finger over it so I get a good grab. Pull down, watching the holes. See how it's slipping down the edge there? Grab it down here. Notice this finger holding it there. Lift it up like that. Pull down. Good. Sliding it over with my hand. So this is why you need the rag. Pulling down. Grabbing, lifting up, locking it with my finger like that, pulling down, dragging it with my fingers like this, lock it with my finger here, pull it down here, and lift up, and lock it there like that. So this is almost tight. If you get it this tight as I got it now, it would be just fine. We're going to go one more time around just to make sure. Pulling it down, locking it. Okay, and we've come back around. That's 2 times around, and I'm back to that slip knot again. I pull the string, and it unties, and I do that slip knot one more time, still holding my finger right here. Put the slip knot, if it comes undone a little bit, it's fine. Put tension on it, put the thumb there, lift it up, around and through, and now pull down, makes it tight. I'm going to go through one more time around just to make sure it's really tight. I get this. Okay, so I've got the screwdriver under here. I'm pulling down like this. Put my finger on it, watching these holes. You can see they're starting to almost tear there, so I don't want to go any farther. Reach under here and pull up. This one is the one that's most important not to pull the skin apart, to have the holes tear. I turn the drum so it's facing me up. I pull with my hands down, lock my finger on it, and lift up like that. Put my finger down here, put the screwdriver underneath it, wrap my finger on it like that, turn the drum, put my hand on top and pull down like that, pulling it down, taking out all the slack, watching these holes, lock my finger, pull down and lift up and put my thumb on the bottom so it can't slide back. Pull down. You can tap the top of the drum and listen. It should be like a tight, ringy sound by this point. It's not going to sound like it will when it's dry because it's still got flexibility from the water in it, but as it dries, it will tighten. Pulling down like this, so you can see it. Lift up, lock my finger, really watching these holes. This is starting to tear out, so I don't want to put a lot of pressure on that. But I will see if I can drag it down a little. That's fine. I'm going to hold it there. Pull down on this one and lift up. Thumb right there. We're almost around to the other side, almost done this drum. Dragging it down like that with my hands. Pressure as much as I can without tearing those holes. Just go slowly. If you go slow, you can get it to work. Don't pull too hard. Don't start jerking it. Just come in with slow pressure, easy pressure on it. Drag your hand over, and we're done. All we have to do is the final knot, which is like the slip knot, except for instead of making a slip knot, you pull the string all the way through. It's like this. Hands like that again. Turn it over. Make that same line. Put the loop through and pull it all the way through. This is important, like that. Then pull down. If you rotate the string like that and pull, it'll slip. And you can tighten it like that. And that's the final tension like that. That's the drum. That's the tension that you want, just like that. then all you need to do is just cut the strings. I cut these strings so that they're just below the bottom edge of the drum. And I cut these strings right here, just so that they're about an inch away, right there. And I melt them so they don't fray. Then you need to let the drum dry. I would say overnight is best. If it's a dry day out, like 6 or 7 hours, and the drum should be ready to play. But just to be safe, go 12 hours. And don't play it when it's still wet, because the glue is bonding right now. And if you play it, you break that bond. So it's better just to let it dry. So that's how I melt those. And I melt these strings right here, and you have a finished full circle drum. All right, well, I hope you've got it from that. Watch the tape a couple of times if you didn't get it, and enjoy your new full circle drum. Well, this is the drum. It's dry now, and this is what it sounds like. I thought I would invite Gabriel to come in and play a little music with us to end this DVD.